When it comes to Meghan Markle, drama doesn't just follow her, it practically packs her bags. And the latest revelation, it's not just juicy, it's potentially explosive. Forget Netflix confessionals and well-lit charity speeches. This time, the curtains pulled back. As when we're seeing might just burn down the entire Montecito image Meghan spent years crafting. But before we get into this royal whirlwind, take a moment, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next. So here we are again, staring through the Sussex's carefully curated PR garden. Except now, it's not filtered through glossy magazine spreads or speechwriters talking about empowerment. It's something much rawer and far more damaging. Enter Lady Colin Campbell, royal commentator, unapologetic truth-teller, and now, allegedly the keeper of receipts. She's dropped claims that would make any palace gatekeeper sweat. According to Lady C, Meghan's past isn't as spotless or noble as she'd have us believe. And what she hints at is enough to send Meghan's PR team into full damage control mode. Forget the narrative of the misunderstood Duchess who challenged a dusty monarchy. Lady C paints a far different picture, one involving yacht parties, billionaire backers, and hush-hush high society circles. Yacht girl is the phrase she uses, and for those who know what that implies, well, let's just say the optics aren't great for someone who built a brand on victimhood, virtue, and vulnerability. Now, let's be clear, none of this has been confirmed beyond whispers and alleged documentation. But in the ruthless world of royal image and reputation, even the suggestion of impropriety can spark a media wildfire. Meghan, once the darling of the Hollywood left and the global press, now finds herself navigating a story that could completely dismantle the public persona she's fought to build. And if you think this stops at scandalous party, snapshots, or shady old connections, think again. Because one name keeps bubbling up in these rumors that could make this situation nuclear: Prince Andrew. Yes, that Prince Andrew, the walking royal controversy. Even a tangential link between Meghan's past and Andrew's infamous social circles is enough to trigger headlines and panic among brand managers. The moment her name even grazes his in a tabloid, the story shifts from personal embarrassment to full-blown royal crisis. For years, Meghan has told the world a story. Struggling. Actress meets prince, battles an ancient institution, stands tall in the face of racism, misogyny, and media cruelty. And Harry, loyal to a fault, followed her out of the palace and into the podcast studio. But what if the story we've been sold wasn't entirely true? What if the empowered Duchess was also a social climber? What if the victimhood was ... strategic? The dangerous question swirling around now is because if Lady C's alleged evidence has even a sliver of truth, it suggests that the fairy tale was more fabrication than fact. Meghan's not just battling a smear campaign, she may be fighting the unraveling of her entire narrative. And let's not forget Harry, the man who gave up everything: his family, his country, his military roles for a woman who told him the palace was killing her spirit. If it turns out she wasn't so much running from oppression but chasing opportunity, then what does that make Harry? It's a modern-day Romeo? Or the monarchy's most tragic fool? He looks increasingly isolated, trapped in a Californian castle of his own making, giving interviews about his trauma while the crown he left behind continues doing the work. Quietly and consistently. William and Catherine, by contrast, aren't on podcasts lamenting their lives. Are showing up, visiting hospitals, meeting children, doing what royals do best, being present. No dramatic lighting, no ghost-written scripts, just duty. Meanwhile, King Charles holds steady. Camilla has evolved into a surprisingly solid queen consort, and Princess Anne, unbothered and unbreakable, remains the monarchy's secret weapon. They're not flashy, but they don't need to be. Their power is in their consistency. The Sussexes once positioned themselves as the face of a modern monarchy, relatable. It's progressive, unfiltered. But what happens when that unfiltered reality isn't all that palatable? In Hollywood, perception is everything. And right now, Meghan's perception is slipping fast. The endorsements, the speaking gigs, the Vogue editorials, those depend on her image. When that image starts cracking under the weight of scandal, allies disappear fast, especially when the shadow of Prince Andrew looms nearby. Even if the most salacious rumors never prove true, the damage is already done, because where there's smoke, especially in royal circles, the press assumes fire. And Meghan's team knows it. That's why legal threats are flying. Crisis managers are whispering. And the PR machine is working overtime to reframe, redirect, and deflect. But the public is watching with sharper eyes now. The carefully crafted persona has been poked too. Many times. And each time, the reaction has been the same. Deflection, denial, and a familiar chorus of unfair treatment. But when every criticism becomes an attack, every exposure a smear, eventually people stop listening. Meanwhile, the firm, that ancient institution Meghan and Harry thought they could outmaneuver, remains untouched. Because here's the truth. No amount of Netflix editing can erase. The monarchy doesn't collapse when one couple walks away. It adapts. It endures. Meghan may have thought she could rewrite the royal playbook. She's learning what generations before her did. The crown plays the long game. It doesn't need to shout. It waits. So as Meghan's story teeters between scandal and spectacle, and Harry looks more like a spectator in his own life, the rest of the royal family carries on. Steady, unshaken, unbothered. That's the real power of the crown. And for us, those leaning over the garden fence, sipping tea with one eyebrow raised, the next chapter promises to be unforgettable. Meghan's team may scramble, her defenders may shout, but the narrative is no longer entirely hers to control. Because at the end of the day, truth has a funny way of finding daylight. Even if it takes a detour through a yacht and a dusty old file folder in Lady Colin Campbell's study. So stay tuned. This story's far from over, and the next twist might just be the biggest yet.